Deep from the bowels of the Macabre Theater Laboratory, we bring you Macabre Cast. Nothing wrong with your streaming service. You are exactly where you should be, where the slush puppy machine is always on and cold. Your favorite horror mag is on the rack, discreetly between Women's Wear Daily and Cosmopolitan. I'm your host, Doc Mark, along with my counterpart, Karis, the Little Mummy, here to bring you another episode of Macabre Cast, where we'll be dropping ours where they belong and adding them where they don't. This is a safe space for lovers of the original Twilight Zone who know if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Newbies welcome, regulars welcome back, and worshippers, get out of here. Please, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and tell a friend to do the same. Even that guy who has an opinion about virtually everything and tells you whether you wish to hear it or not. Yeah, that guy. If you wish to interact with fellow monster kids, follow the Facebook page, Macabre Theater. It's there where you can send me a voice message through Messenger and be part of this show. A link can be found in the description of this episode. Macabre Cast episode 119 begins now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Adoro il cast macabro.
Okay, so Karis, today's topic, welcome to the Twilight Zone. I've asked the Monster Kids to tell us what their favorite episode is of the original Twilight Zone that ran from 1959 to 1964. And what episode would they show first to a newbie of the show? And what do they think about the reboots of the show over the years and the infamous 1983 Twilight Zone movie that took the life of Vic Morrow and 2 child actors?
Wow. All things Twilight Zone. I misunderstood the topic. When you did your promo, I misunderstood it because I thought you wanted to talk about the Twilight vampire movies. You know, the sparkly vampires.
No, Karis, I don't think so. The Twilight vampire films have no place on Macabre Cast. Sorry, not sorry.
Did you know that Rod Serling considered being a tailor for a while?
Rod Serling considered being a tailor? I never knew that.
Yeah. He was always fascinated with the fabric of reality.
And on that note, it's time for horror news. Annabelle popcorn buckets are coming to Regal Theaters with the final in the Conjuring films, The Conjuring: Last Rites. A trailer for a movie called Goodbye has dropped. It's a haunted house film told from the perspective of a dog. Well, Brownie has something to look forward to. The Strangers Chapter 2 releases to theaters September 26th. Del Toro's Frankenstein will hit limited theaters October 17th, then on Netflix November 7th. I know I'm beating a dead horse when I say this, but please, Del Toro, no more Shape of Water-style monsters. As of last week, the first issue of Marvel's Predator Kills is on shelves. You hear that, horror chat? 28 years later, Part 2, The Bone Temple, is already in front of test audiences. And that's it for horror news. And Brownie agrees. Brownie, the corpse-sniffing dog.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Rod Rod Serling was born Christmas Day, 1924, and died June 28, 1975. He was an American screenwriter best known for his television anthology, The Twilight Zone, which ran from October 2, 1959 to June 19, 1964. Unusual tales that often ended with a surprise and a moral. Extraordinary scores from Bernard Herrmann, Jerry Goldsmith, and Fred Steiner, and many more. It's managed to never fall out of syndication. In fact, Pluto TV even has a Twilight Zone channel that runs the original show 24/7. It's been attempted to be rebooted at least 3 times, but never to the success of the original. Growing up back in the mid-70s, I was fortunate enough to have a small black and white TV in my bedroom. Even though we dealt with only 3 watchable channels and rabbit ear antennae, summer nights would end with 11 p.m. showings of Twilight Zone episodes. I still consider the early 60s show to be one of the best shows ever made. Here on Macabre Cast, I just want to know what your thoughts are on this show. What's your favorite episode? If there is the possibility of finding someone who's never seen the show, how would you introduce them to it? What episode would you show them? I'll let you in on a personal favorite episode of mine. Season 1, Episode 5, Walking Distance. This was an episode where a young man stops to have his car serviced while driving across the countryside. Realizing he is only a stone throw away from his hometown, he decides to visit, seeing that it's only in walking distance. Nothing has changed. Everything is the same. Ice cream sodas are still 10 cents, and his parents are still the age they were when he was only a boy. There has always been an unexplainable, surreal feeling when I visit my hometown, places I knew as a child. This episode nails it and is more emotional than sci-fi or supernatural, like the show mostly became noted for. As far as what episode I would show first to a newbie, that would probably go to Season 2, Episode 6, Eye of the Beholder, where a woman is undergoing her 11th treatment in an attempt to look normal. Second would probably be Season 2, Episode 7, Nick of Time, starring William Captain Kirk Shatner. A newlywed couple's car breaks down en route to New York. While waiting, they grab lunch at a diner. At the table they sit at is a fortune-telling machine that answers yes or no questions. A matter of circumstances lead the husband to believe he has insight into the future. I think this would be a great jump starter for a newbie to the show.
Want I should wash the dead bugs off the windshield?
Hey, Dark Mark and Karis, the little mummy. I hope you're enjoying your vacation because as I'm making this phone call, you guys are still out there. I'm just calling to answer a couple questions, maybe tell a story, say thank you to Grim Kim. As usual, she knows me better than anyone. That movie Transfiguration was so good. I loved it. I would more categorize that as a indie drama with vampire themes than a horror movie. That's just me, though. I'm, kind of weird. I love movies that make me think for days about metaphors and things like that. That was really good, though. Also, about last week's question, where you mentioned the Twilight Zone. Now, I'm not sure, because it's kind of a blur. They're all like, I watched these shows all at the same time. Twilight Zone, Night Gallery, and then there was another one. I can't remember. But anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. I probably am. This is probably Night Gallery. But there was an episode with Joan Crawford where she's a blind woman who buys her sight. And another episode with Rowdy McDowell where there's a painting on the wall. He inherits an estate and he's kind of a bad guy and the painting keeps changing. If you know, you know. And I'm not going to say any more in case you haven't seen it because it was really good. I also liked a TV show called Night Stalker. And there was an episode of that kind of mimicked the Headless Horseman, but with a motorcycle, that scarred me for life. Okay. So, the week before that, I also missed the question of documentaries of true crime. And I got a little story. Okay, so I'd have to say John Wayne Gacy is probably the most interesting of the serial killers to me because I grew up in Chicago. And Mark, you are spot on. That Brian Dennehy documentary, or not documentary, but that Brian Dennehy movie of the week or whatever it was really good. That was probably the best one I've seen. I'd have to say that I have a little story about John Gacy. It's just a story. It's not true. Or I mean, it is true, but it's, make what you will. I remember one night, because John Wayne Gacy was doing his thing when I was in high school. And I remember one night coming home from a football game. And it was late at night. It was like 9 o'clock at night. And I was waiting for a bus by myself on a street corner at the corner of Lawrence Ave and Western Ave in Chicago. And at the light pulls up this Lincoln Continental, a big old rich man's car, and there's a clown driving it. So it just struck me really funny, and I remember I laughed out loud. And it was a summer night, and he had his windows open. So he looked over at me, and he said, "What's so funny?" And I just laughed even harder when he said that, because, I mean, what is this guy, stupid? He's driving a car dressed as a clown. Anyway, so he drove off, and I always thought about that, because I thought that was really strange. And about 6 months later, the whole thing blew up with John Gacy and, the whole thing. And every time I try to remember that night, all I can see now in my memory is Pogo the Clown. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if it was, if that's what it actually looked like, or if that's my imagination now building into the story, which is really weird because it makes it extra creepy memory for me, I'm very interested in the John Wayne Gacy stuff just because everybody was talking about it when it happened, and everybody had stories. And there was even a kid that everybody knew that went to one of the suburban high schools that we used to play football against. Because I lived in the city and it was just outside the city. Anyway, moving on from that, because I don't think about that too much anymore. But the other thing I wanted to say was, you said this episode is going to air on August 25th, and that's a very special day for me. And I would like to give a shout out to that wonderful, talented star of stage and screen, fabulous drummer, who's turning 21 on August 25th, which I guess is today. I'd like to say happy birthday, Violet. If you're out there listening, I'm thinking about you, and you better be listening. So there's that. And I'm really sorry I'm going to miss you guys at the end of the month for the meet and greet at the IMAX to see Jaws, because I'll be in Chicago seeing My Chemical Romance. If I didn't get tickets, I probably would have changed my plans. But unfortunately, that's what I'm doing. So you guys have a great time. Take lots of pictures, and I'll be thinking of you. Until September, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
So yes, Chicago Tina, the episodes that you mentioned you are correct, Night Gallery. The one with Roddy McDowell is actually the very first episode, and it's called The Cemetery. That was the one about the painting. And the one with Joan Crawford was episode 2, and it was titled Eyes, and it was directed by none other than Steven Spielberg of Jaws fame. And mentioning Jaws, one of the other directors of Night Gallery was Janot Schwark. And I know I'm probably butchering his name, but he was the director of Jaws 2. So 2 Jaws alumni come out of Night Gallery. Great show, just never enjoyed it as much as Twilight Zone. Some great stars, some great directors, but there was more to me as a mysterious appeal to the original Twilight Zone. But I do enjoy Night Gallery, and I actually own that collection as well. And Night Stalker, fantastic show. I think I appreciate Night Stalker more as an adult than I did as a kid. I think a lot of the humor was over my head because I was just in it for the monsters, but loved Night Stalker. And your John Wayne Gacy story, whether that was really Gacy or not, either way, the story gives me chills. But had that been Gacy and you were a boy, you probably wouldn't be here to tell that story. I hope you have a wonderful time in Chicago now that it's Gacy free, although I'm sure some clown has taken his place by now. Just be careful, be aware of your surroundings, and have a great time going down memory lane. Kind of like the episode Walking Distance that I mentioned earlier. And a big happy birthday to Violet. I hope you enjoy your day. Always great hearing from you, Chicago Tina, and we hope to hear from you when you get back from Chicago.
Chicago.
Macabre Theater's foreign correspondent, always out on assignment, Grim Kim, with the Grim Facts.
Grim Facts.
Hi, Macabre Theater. Hello, Dark Mark. Hello, Karis, the Little Mummy. Hello, Monster Kids. Grim Kim, check it in. I think I'm in Bizarro World. Was that the name of Superman's upside down world? You know what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do. Anyway, it's Thursday. I just wanted to leave a little hello, checking in notice because my life has been a complete whirlwind. For lack of a better term, we'll use the word
Grim. Old habits die hard.
We'll see if I get foghorned. And I was in Wakefield for a bit at my mom's, and a week later I'm heading back out again because, my brother needs to stay with my mom for about 4 to 6 months while he's working on a job 2 hours from his house, and he didn't even know I had landed there last week, so it's like my plans got abruptly derailed, and I was just trying to figure out a situation that I didn't have to sleep in the same bed as my mother and have my nephew and brother in the other room like we're the Waltons. Night, Jim Bob! Night, John Boy! Oh, dear God. Oh. So I'll be moving a little further away. Brownie will be staying in Wakefield, and I'll be happy to have a little help with her because it's so hard trying to make arrangements for her elderly dog midday letting out. My mom can't do it. It's been the bane of my existence, honestly. It's incredibly stressful, and if you don't have outside arrangements, then it's just, I know some of you have pets, understand that. I'm getting ready to settle back in for my new digs, my new for now digs, and I'm really looking forward to binging the last 3 episodes from Macabre Cast back to back because I've been remiss in even trying to listen, and that's how crazy it's been. But Larry left me a message saying he liked my review of Transfiguration. I have to listen to last week's episode. He gave Weapons high praise. I can't wait to see it. I'm hoping to tomorrow. My son saw it yesterday too. Same thing. High praise. And I had told my son how I had accidentally read a spoiler that gave me the whole synopsis. He goes, yeah, your spoiler was fake, so don't even worry about it. You don't know what the story is. And I'm so excited, even more so, to know that I don't know exactly what the story is. So anyway, really looking forward to that. I'm hoping I can catch it with Grim Twin. Let me tell you guys how my sister has a leading role in The Haunting of Hill House. I believe it's at Quannapowitt Players this fall. I'm going to leave you more information about that, and looking forward to that, of course. I forget which role she said she's doing. The scientist woman, I believe she said. So looking forward to that. Anyway, you guys have a great week. Looking forward to Jaws. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.
Well, Grim, our thoughts are with you and hoping that your situation gets better. Looking forward to seeing you at Macabre Meetup 2, Jaws, the big screen on IMAX. And you're going to have to let us know more about Grim Twin's starring role in The Haunting of Hill House. That sounds really awesome, and looking forward to hearing more about that. Hope to hear from you again soon, Grim Kim. Welcome to Cobwebbed Classics, where I dust off a lost, forgotten, or just plain unappreciated film and introduce it to, or maybe just remind you about it, so your spooky Saturday night might run a little creepier. This week's Cobwebbed Classic is 1955's Bride of the Monster, from the category of It's So Bad It's Good. Bride of the Monster is one of Hackmaster Edward D. Wood Jr.'s most coherent film. Although he is mostly known for Plan 9 from Outer Space, Bela Lugosi has screen time in this one, surrounded by co-stars Russell Ator Johnson and Loretta King.
Let me loose. Do you hear me? You will be soon as big as a giant. Or, like all the others, dead.
Bride of the Monster tells the story of Dr. Eric Vornoff, who is conducting experiments to turn people into super beings via atomic power. Some of the most hilarious dialogue and monologues I've ever heard in a film happen here.
I have no home. Hunted. Despised. Living like an animal. The jungle is my home. That I will show the world that I can be its master. I will perfect my own race of people. A race of atomic supermen which will conquer the world.
And a film that takes itself so serious. Cardboard sets that wobble when Tor Johnson walks, and catty behavior on screen between two actresses who didn't care for one another. This was the only financially successful film upon its release to theaters in Ed Wood's career. It's Lugosi's last speaking role in a film, and overdramatic or not, thank God we got a monologue. He only received $1,000 for the role, but I'm sure he was the highest paid in the cast. Since 1980, many books and trivia games have insisted Lugosi flubs his line that Lobo is as harmless as a kitchen. However, this is completely inaccurate. Lugosi delivers his line correctly, which is, he's as gentle as a kitten. The majority of the 1994 film Ed Wood devotes itself to the making of this film. And I highly recommend Tim Burton's 1994 gem, Ed Wood. Lugosi's last role, which has no dialogue, was 1956's The Black Sleep. Even though he appears in Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space in 1957, it's only through the use of stock footage. This would make a great double feature with 1941's Spooks Run Wild. 1955's Bride of the Monster is this week's
Cobwebbed Classics.
Well, while I was off at Monster Island, Horror Chat Matt was at the Dark Universe. Boy, am I jealous. And I believe he is here to tell us all about it.
Hey, Dark Mark, Little Karis, and all the Monster Kids back at the theater this week. It's Horror Chat Matt checking in. Doc, I have to tell you, while you were off with Little Karis on Monster Island, the theater sure was lonely. And I have to say, a week without Macabre Cast is like a week without sunshine. So I decided to pack up and hop on a plane and head down to Orlando, Florida, to Universal Studios to check out their new theme park, Epic Universe. But more importantly, I wanted to give a review of the Dark Universe, aka Universal Monsters section of the new park. And I have to say, I knew it would be, but hands down, it was my favorite part of the new park. They had an amazing roller coaster in the other section of the park. That was probably the best roller coaster I've ever been on in my life. It's a dueling roller coaster. Two cars go at the same time, and it looks like you can reach out and high-five the people on the other car, but obviously you can't. And that was a really amazing ride. But other than that, the other sections really didn't do it for me. They had a Super Mario World and How to Train Your Dragon and another Harry Potter section, which only had one ride. And that's where the vast majority of the people went, and Super Mario World, which is to my benefit because the Monsters section was busy, but it wasn't crazy. And their number one attraction there is Frankenstein's Manor, which is a ride that you go on and you sit in rows of 4 and you're attached to a giant arm that swings you and takes you throughout the attraction. Think of Disney's Haunted Mansion, but on speed. Like, it was insane. This arm rotated all over. You lean back in your seat, you lean forward. And the animatronics in this ride were out of this world, the best I've ever seen. there was a Phantom of the Opera section that just blew my mind. I don't want to give away too much of it, but you'll see all your classic monsters on that one. Some I wasn't expecting. And one that was left out, I was a little surprised about that one. The other ride they had in that area was a rotating Wolfman roller coaster where your section of your car as you're going around the track would spin around. I had higher expectations for that one. It was okay. It was a little short. I thought it could have been a little bit better. And they had a meet and greet area where you could meet Frankenstein's monster and the bride, as well as having the Invisible Man roaming around, just popping up places. And they also had, which I thought was amazing, was a spinning windmill. And about every 15 minutes or so, it would catch on fire. And below that, they had a tavern. They had 2 sit-down restaurants that you could eat in. One was basically a vampire hunter, a monster hunter tavern. And they had all vampires strung up on the wall with stakes through them. And the decor and the attention to detail, like I said earlier, was amazing. I definitely recommend going there. I might wait a little bit so the crowds die down, and definitely mix it in with a trip to the other Universal parks. Like, don't just go down there for that. I think you might be a little bit disappointed. There's not as much there as I thought there would be. So overall, I would definitely highly recommend heading down there and checking it out if and when you get a chance. If you can time it around Halloween Horror Nights, that would probably be even better. But the best part about it is it has horror year-round. When I wasn't at the theme park and came home, I did have time to take in a couple of shows and movies. I just want to give some really quick reviews on those. I went to the theaters to check out Weapons, and I loved it. The storytelling was great. I loved the way all the different storylines tied in together, and I can't recommend it enough. It's definitely worth going to see in the theaters. It's a little on the long side, but I was never looking at my watch like I got to get out of here. On the TV, I checked out FX's new Alien TV show, Alien Earth, and 3 episodes have been out so far, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm surprised to say this, but I think Disney, between this and the last Alien Romulus, I think they have a good handle on the Alien franchise, and their Predator stuff has been pretty good too. And there's a new Predator movie coming out soon, as well as a animated movie that just came out, which I really enjoyed. So, surprised to say, Disney's kind of killing it with their adult content. And then the last thing I checked out, which I'm sure you as well as a campfire kid yourself there, Dark Mark, and we've been waiting a long, long time for a new installment of any kind in the Friday 13th world, is the new Jason Universe 10-minute short special that they've released on YouTube, presented by Angry Orchard. And trust me, if you didn't know it was presented by Angry Orchard, you would know by the end, because there is a lot of product placement in this thing. And they called it Sweet Revenge. Like I said, it was only 10 minutes long, give or take a minute or two here. And they were really, obviously they don't have a lot of time to get into stuff. So they were kind of hitting the ground running, and a lot of stuff happens pretty quickly. Overall, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I think part of me was just happy that there was some new Jason content out there. And they're definitely, if the way I interpreted what they were doing, they're definitely swinging for the fences here and really putting some power into Crystal Lake. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. Hop on, watch it, and come to your own conclusions. There was a lot of stuff done off camera, which I didn't like, but then they did have some pretty good kills in the actual short. And overall, I don't know, I'd say maybe a 5 out of 10. Like I said, I was just happy to see some new Jason content out there. Hopefully, this is like a preseason game for the Jason universe, and they will fine-tune and work out some of the kinks and be ready to go with a real actual 13th, Friday the 13th, or whatever the heck they have to call it these days because of the lawsuit. Anyways, Dark, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad the show is back, and I cannot wait for this week's episode. And as always, make mine Macabrecast.
You know, I have to say, Horror Chat, I don't know, maybe I'm kind of old school Disney. I mean, I do like roller coasters and stuff, but it almost bums me out a little bit to know there isn't more to the dark universe. I kind of pictured a park full of like the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney, only all kind of Universal monster themed. More rides like that. And a little let down that it doesn't sound like it's like that. I still will definitely venture there to check it out. And I would have liked it to coincide with Halloween Horror Nights that goes on out there at the same time to really get a full week out of it. But thank you for letting us know what goes on there at the Dark Universe. And we hope to hear from you again real soon, Horror Chat. Dangerous Animals 2025, directed by Sean Bryan, starring Hassie Harrison, Jay Courtney, and Josh Houston. A shark-obsessed serial killer kidnaps Zephyr, a hippie-spirited surfer, and what transpires is a tour de force of mind over muscle. She struggles to escape his boat while at sea surrounded by man-eaters. Action-packed and suspenseful, Metal Melody weighed in on this one a few episodes back, and I believe she liked it as well. I give this 4 stars out of 5. Dark Mark says, check it out.
Go check it out. Go check it out. Go check it out.
Now the perfect way to enjoy your morning coffee wearing your Macabrecast t-shirt and drinking Java from your 15-ounce Macabrecast mug. T-shirts $13, coffee mug $17. Both include your shipping. Message me for Venmo info.
Is this something you could share with the rest of us, Amazing Larry?
Greetings, Dark Mark and Carousel Little Mummy. Scary Larry here. Now that Dark is back from vacation, I have a couple of reviews. Hey Karis, what is a baby ghost's favorite game to play? Peek-a-boo! This week's topic: which Twilight Zone episode was my favorite? To be honest, I never got into the series, though I enjoy the John Landis movie, controversy and all. I watched a couple documentaries, and I did see the raw footage of the fatal accident that took the life of Victor Morrow and the 2 minor actors. My favorite segment was It's a Good Life. Originally was played by child actor Bill Mumy, best known as Will Robinson in the sci-fi series Lost in Space.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
Moving on. I took Dark's recommendation and watched The Clove Hitch Killer. Good film. Dylan McDermott has done an excellent job transitioning from the heartthrob character to evil very well. He had a couple great characters in the American Horror Story series, especially the second season, Asylum. I like that they alluded to his character being similar to BTK without actually making it a movie about BTK. I have mentioned in previous episodes how much I dislike Hollywood taking true events and bastardizing them. I give this one 3 out of 4 stars. Lastly, my sister and I got to see Weapons last week, and whoo boy, this lives up to the hype. Went in an hour and a half beforehand, and I got one of the last 2 seats together. Guy was telling me that this movie was selling out every showing. Now imagine a horror movie done by Quentin Tarantino with all his jumping around out of order, but bringing it all together in the end. Without spoiling this is an amazing tale of black magic being used for evil purposes. 3 out of 4 stars, a rare go see it in the theater recommendation from Scary Larry.
Weapons, weapons, weapons. It sounds like the movie to see. You should get going on that. Maybe do a review.
And, well, I guess the Twilight Zone, just wasn't your thing. But that's cool. And, the Clove Hitch Killer, I'm just really glad that you enjoyed that, and it was worth your while. I'm going to have to check out this Weapons movie, like Karis has insisted, because, I've yet to hear a bad thing about it, and I need to check that out. As always, thanks for seeing it, Scary, so we don't have to.
The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Hello, Doc, Mark, Karis the Little Mummy, and all the monster kids listening. It is moi, Metal Melody. And I am checking in to give you a little bit of news. So anyway, I'm on break right now, so I can't take forever. And I'm walking, so I'm out of breath. Anyway, I wanted to say movies I've watched. Mark, I watched The Last Breath, and I thought that was a pretty good movie. I liked it. I'm very claustrophobic, so it freaked me out a little bit, all those swimming through all them parts in the boat and everything, but whatever. But I thought it was an okay movie. I enjoyed it. Kim, I watched Transfiguration. I thought that was okay. That wasn't a bad movie. But The Titan, I really liked. That was really good. And I'm laughing because I'm such a friggin' idiot, because through the movie, I'm like, who the frig knocked this chick up? Like she was having sex, I saw in the car, but didn't show with who. So I didn't find out till the end. And then I was like, you're a friggin' dipshit, Melody. But anyway, I mean, who knew? I don't know. Did anybody else that see it know, that part? I don't know, which I thought was weird, because her pregnant belly, she looked like she had a hole through it. I'm like, what the fuck, So I don't know, but that was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I felt so bad for her and that man, that was like a father figure to her. But it was a good movie. I liked it. And I already said that. I saw the movie Together, which is about Tim and Millie, and they move to a countryside, and they come into a supernatural force that binds them together both physically and emotionally. They find something in some cave, some sticky gooey stuff, and it literally starts to bring them together like magnets and bind them, and the end was freaky, and it was an okay movie. It didn't suck, but I mean, I'm glad I didn't bother seeing it at the movies, put it that way. But it was okay. The same thing with Weapons. I saw that, where the kids are disappearing out of the classroom all at once. And it was very I felt wasn't getting anywhere. Through the movie, I'm just what happened to the damn kids? You gotta wait till the end, and it's just I found it a tad boring. Not because there was a lot of action or anything. I just didn't like the way the story was put together. I just didn't like the way it went. I think they should have maybe gave more hints as to what happened to the kids. I don't know. Anyway, it was okay. Again, something I'm glad I wouldn't see at the cinema and waste money on. Let me see. I saw a movie on Shudder. and it's called 32 Malasana Street. It has captions because it's in Spanish, I believe. And it's pretty good. I liked it. Kind of reminded me of The Conjuring, but only Spanish, not white people. They move to this house. There's some supernatural shit going on. The little brother gets possessed or he gets taken and they're looking all over for him, and it was a supernatural movie, but it's pretty good if somebody doesn't mind to read the captions. But I thought it was a good movie anyway, so I just wanted to share that. What else, Mark? The Twilight Zone. I don't really have a favorite because they're all really good, but two that I really liked was The Mirror in season 3. I thought was really good, and season 2, The Howling Man. I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, that's it for now. Mark, I hope you had a fantastic vacation. You definitely deserve it, and can't wait to hear episode 119 when it drops on Monday. So everybody take care. Y'all have a fabulous week, and we'll see what's up next week. Bye-bye. Another thing I saw, it's called The Pyramid. It's, I believe, from 2014. In case nobody saw it, it was really good. It's about a 3-sided pyramid that gets discovered under the desert. And there's a team, and they send a rover in to map it and everything, and it goes offline, and then a bunch of friggin' idiots they decide to, let's go under there, and they go under there to see what happens, why it's offline, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it. I can't believe I never saw it or heard of it before. They come in contact with some creatures. People are dying, getting attacked. There's all meaning to I said hydroglyph, I don't know what the frig you call it, but it popped up hypoglycemia, but that wasn't the word I was looking for. You know what I mean, hydroglyphics? I don't know what you call them, the ancient writings, on the different walls or whatever. They wanted to figure out what it meant is it on their path as they traveled. They'd read them and try to figure out till they finally realized what was in there. Were they keeping people out? Were they keeping people in? Anyway, good movie. I really enjoyed it. And if you've never seen it before, you should check it out. Check it out. Check it out, man. Check it out. All right, that's all. Bye. Hieroglyphics. The ancient Egyptian writing on the pyramids. Anyway, hieroglyphics. That's what I was talking about, that they follow along the walls. That's it. Okay, bye.
Dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if...
What the actual fuck?
Yeah, Metal Melody. So glad that you enjoyed The Last Breath. As I've said before, I thought it was a pretty decent shark film. Transconfiguration, still haven't checked that out, and I haven't seen Together, but honestly, that movie sounds like if David Cronenberg made When Harry Met Sally. That's what I'm getting out of that. I've heard nothing but good stuff about Weapons. You're the first one I've heard say boring, and we're kind of going back to maybe Metal Melody doesn't like films that aren't at breakneck speed. Just saying, because sometimes it kind of comes across like that. And your Twilight Zone episodes, awesome. Especially The Howling Man, always a favorite of mine. And speaking of Twilight Zone, I didn't mention earlier, it was the ride at MGM, Tower of Terror, one of my favorite rides. And after Horror Chat, Matt weighed in about the new Dark Universe. I wish more of the rides could have been more like Tower of Terror, which basically puts you inside your own Twilight Zone episode before it gets to the obvious, the drop, which is absolutely terrifying. But before that, you're basically in a Twilight Zone episode that's actually narrated by Rod Serling. And I'm guessing they just mismatched different things to make a coherent narration, but nonetheless, it was great. And as always, so great to hear from you, Metal Melody. We look forward to hearing from you again next week.
Goditi questo episodio de Cast Macabre.
Thank you, Maria Monstalia, for telling our Italian friends to enjoy this episode of Macabre Cast. Imagine, if you will, a boy taunted and bullied for his love of the horrific and macabre, only to mature into a world where the invention of a microchip offers him an avenue with the means of communicating with hundreds upon thousands of like-minded people, realizing he isn't alone in the Twilight Zone. Beware the moon. Keep clear of the moors. But most of all, remember, be good to yourself. This is Dark Mark, signing off. See you soon, I hope. This is a Macabre Theater production.
Subscribe.